Hi, my name is Aaron Reuter, and this is a masterclass presentation on mastering the chess opening. The goal of this masterclass is to help those with a basic understanding of chess master the opening of any chess game in order to succeed and win more. So, when focusing on the opening of a chess game, we want to focus on four major principles. We want to focus on controlling the center of the table, where we have the ability, where most offensive and defensive advantage, developing our pieces forward in an offensive-like manner, especially at the beginning of the game where we want to control the center of the table, to avoid moving our queen into the beginning of the game because it is our most valuable piece. At the D1 position, we have the most offensive capability because of how far the queen can move, and also any blunders at the beginning of a chess game can result in a loss. And lastly, castling the king to ensure a defensive position. So I will be teaching these four core principles for my favorite opening, the King's Gambit. So in the King's Gambit, we start by controlling the center of the table by moving our pawn into the E4 position, which normally black will then follow up by putting their pawn into the E5 position. Afterwards, we do a somewhat unconventional move by putting our own F pawn into the F4 position for offering a free pawn to black. While this may seem like a bad thing, we are going back to our fundamental position by allowing ourselves to control the central pawn of the table, which is a valuable position to be at. Next, assuming they take, we can then follow up by putting our own knight into the F3 position, which then black can then follow up by moving their own position, whereas they are protecting their F4 pawn, and they're also being protected by the D8 queen. If we then follow up by putting our H pitch up into a threatening position for the G5 pawn, we are also protecting ourselves from attack via the knight and the rook, which also goes to a different fundamental position of any basic chess game, which is protecting your threatened pieces, as we have two forms of protection to black's one. So, assuming black goes into the more optimal position of attacking our knight, we can then follow up by moving our knight into the center of the table and threatening the kingside pawn. Black can then follow up by protecting their own G pawn, which is being threatened by our knight, and also attacking our E4 center pawn. Now we can then go up to the fundamental move of the King's Gambit, which is moving our white bishop into the the C4 position. This does three things for white. It allows us to control the center of the table, as we have three pieces in the center of the table, as well as 7 points of positional value, that being three from our bishop, three from our knight, and one from our pawn, to black's 1 point of material and one pawn. This also allows us to threaten the kingside pawn in an offensive manner by developing our pieces into the center via the bishop and the knight. Lastly, we are also able to castle at any point in time on the G1 side, whereas black cannot yet and will not be able to soon as we are threatening their G side position. So now that we circled back to the King's Gambit opening and show our four fundamental positions and where we are, we now control the center of the table via 7 points of material to black's one. We have now developed our pieces forward, that being 8 points of material for white versus black's 5 points of material. We have avoided moving our queen as necessary, and even if we need to move our queen, we do have a way out via the diagonal. And lastly, we now have the ability to castle our king at any time, putting us into a defensive position. Last thing I want to do is basically show that there are tons of other options for opening a chess game that go over these basic fundamental positions. They even have higher opening winning percentages based on, as you can see from chess.com. And then I also provided some examples for black. If you want to research them, this is a great source of material for mastering a chess opening. I hope you had a great time listening to this presentation and learned a lot. Thank you very much.